Okay. Hi, I'm Kathy Irwin. My daughter goes to charter school at Gateway Lab School. And if it weren't for Gateway Lab, the charter school, I would be homeschooling right now because we had no choice for her in particular because she needed a school where she was safe from bullies and safe to be learning the way she needs to learn when in an environment that was good for her. And that wasn't possible in my school district. So when I had the opportunity to enroll her in Gateway Lab School, that's what I did. And she is now a straight A student and level 4 on all of her DCAS tests. So I'm grateful for charter schools in Delaware.
I believe that we have to create a dynamic in this country where no family ever feels like their kid is trapped in a failing school. We always have to have a few high-quality options for every parent to choose from to determine what is in the best interests of their kid. And charter schools can help us do that. So I'm a huge fan of effective charter schools, and while I was here, I tried to do everything I possibly could to help the high-performing charter schools grow to scale. But I will also say that I don't think that charter schools in and of themselves are the answer. Because while we have lots of really high-performing and great charter schools in this city and in this country, we also have a whole lot of crappy ones. And so the idea that somehow let's charter every school and then all of our problems are solved is absolutely incorrect. You still need the kinds of laws that say if you are a low-performing charter school, we are going to close you down just as aggressively, if not more aggressively, than we would close down a low-performing traditional public school. And that essentially in most states is not happening right now, that level of accountability. And so that's why I am not one who would say, oh yes, charter schools are the end-all be-all. I think they're part of the answer, but one piece of a broader puzzle. Here in DC, I would say that the charter sector, and in particular because the charter laws here are so friendly and they facilitate high-quality charters from being able to come to the city and able to grow to scale. Because the charters had gained such a significant market share, it helped our efforts significantly. Because by the time I got here, it was about between 30 and 33% of kids in the city who were in charter schools. So even the people who liked the status quo and didn't want anything to change, they were looking up and saying, oh my gosh, if we don't do something soon to the district, pretty soon we're not going to have a District of Columbia Public Schools anymore. It's all going to be charter schools. And so there was absolutely a burning platform and a belief that we had to reform the traditional public schools because something was happening. Whether you looked at it from one side of the equation or the other, everyone sort of was in agreement that the aggressive reform needed to happen.
I want to be a nurse, I want to be a doctor, and I want to be a veterinarian.
She chose her college and she wrote a letter to the admissions and asking them to allow her to attend their college.
I want to go to a medical college or a veterinarian college because I really want to become a surgeon.
Think she can do it?
Yeah.
Daisy's path to medical school begins with 8th grade algebra, which she'll need to take when she moves up to Stevenson Middle School. By the time she leaves Stevenson, only 13% of her classmates will be proficient in math. Stevenson feeds into Roosevelt, one of the worst performing high schools in Los Angeles. Only 3 out of 100 students at Roosevelt will graduate with the classes necessary for admission to a 4-year university, and 57% of Daisy's classmates won't graduate.
Has your mom and dad told you about the lottery?
The lottery, isn't that when people play and they win money?
Daisy and her parents have found one other option. 8th graders at KIPP LA Prep get triple the classroom time in math and science. And by the time they finish 8th grade, they will have doubled their math and reading scores. Judith and Jose have decided to enter Daisy into the KIPP lottery.
Go like this, cross your fingers. I got a good feeling about this. The spaces with the X's is for all of the 5th grade students that are moving into the 6th grade for next year.
Fregoso Andrew. Cabrera Alondra.
Come on, Daisy, cross your fingers.
When I first got into teaching, a professor always said, think outside the 4 walls of your classroom. So if you're that teacher who wants to think outside the 4 walls, then that's what a charter school is.
My favorite thing about charter schools is that it's an all hands on deck attitude. So everyone just pulls all their resources and energies in to accomplish this mission. You're not teaching in a bubble, you're teaching in a community.
I feel like an innovator. I feel like I can create and try new things with my students, and we have the opportunity to shape the way that they grow up and that they think.
We kind of get to pick our curriculum, and so we're not told exactly what to do, so we just have more freedom and can be more creative in terms of what we do every day in the class.
I get frustrated at this political charter versus traditional public divide, because we're all trying to do the same thing, and that's provide a quality education to our children. And I'm hopeful and very optimistic. In working with LAUSD this summer, I've had a chance to sort of immerse myself in both worlds, and I see so much commonality, and I see so much shared vision, and so much potential that for us to learn from each other and to teach each other.
Charter schools in California are public institutions. We do not charge our students to come to school. We have to educate every student that walks into our door, no matter what their story is, before they get there. We get public money from the state government, from the federal government. So that's the #1 thing, I think, that people misconstrue or confuse.
I hope that charter schools serve to propel all schools forward as far as their effectiveness in serving kids. I don't want traditional public schools to go away. I think that there's great infrastructure, and I just hope that they are inspired by charter schools to push forward in their work.
We can be those places that develop teachers, that empower them, that give them the skill sets that they need and want to teach those children. We can be the people who go into the hardest to serve communities and say these students can learn, these students can achieve, these students can become whatever they want to be.
Education is the great equalizer. That's why we're there. It's a social justice issue. It's more than just a job. We bring it home with us. It's in our hearts. We truly believe that this work is some of the most important work that you can do, and we're going to put 100%.
Charter schools are the results of people standing up and saying, this isn't working. We want to try something different, and we think we can do it.
This plus 2x.
To say students at Rauner College Prep High School on Chicago's West Side are beating the odds doesn't give them enough credit.
So we're done here.
They are exceeding even their own expectations.
3 hours of homework at night, it doesn't really bother me.
Rauner is one of 7 Noble charter schools in Chicago. The graduation rate is 95%. 85% of its graduates go on to college.
It's okay to be the smart one. It's okay to be the one committed to your community. They find here a culture where it's safe.
At the 2 public high schools in the same neighborhood, graduation rates are 50 and 67%, and fewer than 12% of those students meet even basic academic standards.
Is the solution to have all charter schools or to have public schools use the charter school model?
Yeah, and I think it is the latter. Do they have the freedom and accountability that charters do have?
I want to thank all the people of Chicago.
Arnie Duncan, Chicago Public Schools CEO and now Education Secretary nominee, has been a big proponent of giving failing schools more individual control. But only charter schools have the total freedom to hire non-union teachers and uncertified principals.
We have the flexibility and the accountability to meet our students' needs and help really prepare them for college without the excuses.
Yet, according to education watchdog David Stevens, high graduation rates and less red tape don't tell the whole story.
I don't think it's necessarily a question of finding the right model and just, spreading it like wildflowers.
He points to overall charter school student performance in science, reading, and math. All lag behind their public school peers. And Stevens says despite getting taxpayer dollars, charters can weed out students who aren't making the grades.
We're looking at the survivors, right? We're looking at the students who had enough motivation to kind of stick through all the challenges that they faced.
Still, charter schools like Rauner do provide students access to greater opportunities.
I've been getting straight A's. I was so happy. I've never done that before in my life.
And a chance at a brighter future in academically challenged times. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.